We're live.
Hello, everyone. My name is Osi Persona Nganga. I'll be a facilitator for today, but you guys can call me Osi. Welcome to this wonderful session. It's called Climate Literacy Amongst African Youth. A lot of youth are climate illiterate. They don't even know what climate change is. And it's good to know that we have an expert in the house who is very experienced in climate change, COP26 United Nations. I'm sure you guys should know. So, a round of applause for our Ezekiel Nyanfor. He's from Liberia. He's a public at the University of Liberia in Monrovia. He's the founder of Liberian Youth for Climate Change, LYCA, which was founded on the 31st of January 2020. His vision is to make Mother Earth green again through climate actions and volunteerism. Just to give you a brief background about the Liberian Youth for Climate Action, it's a youth-based organization, and it's originally it's a non-profit organization, and their vision is to make Mother Earth green again through climate change actions and volunteerism. So they're not doing it for profit; they're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts.
So thank you, OC. I appreciate the introduction.
Ready, Ezekiel?
Yeah, are you there? So like OC said, I'm from Liberia, and I'm a climate activist. And this section will cover climate literacy among African youth. And everywhere I go, I always tell young people, I always tell youth across Africa that it is we, the African youth, that can create the Africa we want. And the best way we can address the climate crisis is to make sure that everyone become literate to what is happening around us. So climate literacy is very much important to we achieving the Paris Climate Agreement and to we protecting our ecosystem in the ocean. So I'm going to share my screen and talk about a toolkit that we produce as an NGO and what this toolkit is all about and how everyone can have access to it and how this toolkit can improve climate literacy among youth in Africa. So like you have here, this is the Africa Climate Ambassador Toolkit. And this toolkit was created or was developed by our NGO, the Liberian Youth for Climate Actions, in partnership with Renew Our Earth from New York, Kitchen Garden from Uganda. We have the Anna Maraka Foundation from Kenya, Environmental Savers of Zambia, and the African Youth Initiative for Climate Change, Zimbabwe. And it was edited by fd.org. So this toolkit is all about climate literacy, and especially for the youth of Africa, because what we understand is that we don't have resources, we don't have the materials we need. Yet in Africa, most of the materials we are using are produced from America, from Europe, and those materials are not meeting the context, the culture, the context of the African youth. So how is our continent climate situation is like? How are we addressing climate change in Africa? we cannot address climate change in Africa like the same way we are addressing climate change in UK, in America. So the contexts are different, and the young people need to be at the forefront. But what they're lacking is that they don't have resources. They don't know what is happening. They don't have the knowledge. So we decided to develop this toolkit so that you and myself, as African youth, we can have this material and we can understand the climate change situation in Africa. And this toolkit can be used anywhere in Africa. It can be used in Zambia, it can be used in Nigeria, it can be used in Burkina Faso, it can be used anywhere. So it is also meant, like you can see the table of content here. We have the introduction, understanding our climate, the origin of climate change, the causes of climate change, the impacts of climate change, mitigation, best practices, and additional resources African youth can use to address climate change in Africa. So using the Africa Climate Ambassador Toolkit, why did we create this toolkit? Is that African youth are affected by climate change, but they are not yet on the front line in the fight against climate change. Government, civil society, private sector, parents, children all have a role to play in addressing the issue of climate change. And we all have to fight together to address this problem. And our aim in the approach is that we want to advance the understanding of how climate change affects the young people today and tomorrow. It will also grow new advocates. It will help people to be inspired. It will give them the knowledge they need to become better climate change activists. It will also advances environmental literacy in both primary and secondary schools. Climate education will focus on conservation actions at local level, at national level, at international level. It will also emphasize on how climate change impacts our soil, our ocean, and the unique biodiversity of Africa. And the goal here is to create a platform where everyone can teach, learn, and share. So this resource can be used by anyone. You can be a teacher, you can be a parent, you can be a caretaker, you can be a guardian, you can even be somebody who is not really 100% glued to climate change. But when you use the toolkit, it can help you to better understand climate change. So we are taking climate advocacy or climate literacy on another level. So when you want to have a material on Africa, this is the best material you can use to educate yourself about climate change in Africa. So how can we use the toolkit? The Africa Climate Ambassador tool can be used by anyone. It can be used in the classroom by sharing by sharing with teachers and interacting with students. It can be revised by different sections. It can be adopted. It can be used in the hustle section. It can be used in formal location, informal location. Anyone, anywhere can teach about climate change. So you don't have to be a teacher to teach about climate change. So as an African youth, you can use it. You can use this material to teach your little sister, your little brother about climate change, and it will help you a lot. So some of the things you can find in this toolkit is understanding our climate, the past and present situation in regards to climate change, the causes of climate change, mitigation, real life examples. So if you look at this toolkit, at the background here, you are seeing the earth, what earth is, our air, our weather, our climate, our soil. So they are all in a very simple language. You don't have to go look for a dictionary to define words. They are very simple to the understanding of even a child who is 5 years old. When you explain this to them, they can really understand it. So the past and present climate change situation. So like you can see right here, they said they didn't know that in the past, climate change didn't threaten our communities or our food system. And now here you can see that. So can we learn from the past? So we can learn from the past practices to grow in the future. So here it's talking about our food system, you know, our vegetation cover and everything. So you see here about the weather changes. In the past, we used to receive just enough rain for our plants, our animals, and people. The sun was just enough for ourselves. But now today, what is happening? Today we rarely receive enough rain for our crops to grow. And at the time we need rain, we are expecting sun. So here you can see learning points. So you can ask students where they can get their food from, and if their family uses or buy fertilizer that support the soil. And there are some civic action challenge here. And there's an advocacy packet that you can use to start composting, composting in your school. So you can use this advocacy pack to start composing in your school as well. So yeah, we cover the origin of yeah, we cover the origin of climate change here. So yeah, you see now we're talking about the greenhouse gases, we're talking about the greenhouse effects. So everything you need to know about climate change, climate literacy is all packaged in this toolkit for African youth to use. So we have learning point here as well. So as we explain, you can see you having some learning points that you can ask. So you can ask students to go home and talk to older caretakers, their parents, their grandparents about some changes they have seen, in the past. What happened in the past? You can ask your grandfather, your grandmother, and they will tell you that this used to happen in the past, but now it is not happening. Things have changed, you know, just like that. So the causes of climate change. So you see in here, we have in the car, the smoke that comes from the car. We're having the industry. You're having waste dumping. You're having the airplane. You're having energy generation, the forest and land use, our train, open burning. So they didn't know that a tree can absorb carbon dioxide and turn it into oxygen. Without trees, carbon dioxide will increase. So you're having some simple learning points to grab students' attention, to grab young people's attention to understanding about climate change. So human activities that contribute towards climate change, open burning or cooking with firewood, deforestation or cutting down of trees, bio waste disposal practices, energy use and everything. So there are some videos here that students and young people can use to take civic actions in addressing these human activities. So we still continue with the human impacts on climate change. So we're having the full. So some of the things that affect that climate change affect here is that it affect our rain. You know, it affects it brings about prolonged droughts and all of that. It also affects human health. It affects the environment. It brings about bushfire, infrastructure, and there are so many points that we have, so many prompts, learning prompts that we have here. Like I use this web of life activities and project so that you can start a tree planting in your schools and in the communities. So we also cover mitigation practices. So here you see that I'm worried about not knowing what climate change or climate adaptation and mitigation is. Can it stop climate change? So here you have Africa is already experiencing climate change effects. Adaptation is a way of coping or taking action to live with the changes it brings about. Mitigation is about action taken to reduce or remove the causes of climate change. So how can I do something about climate change? Yes, you can. You can share what you have learned about climate change with your family and friends so that they can help reduce the impact. So yeah, we also have a climate ambassador. So the climate ambassador will cover the role of government in conservation, children role model in conservation as well. So also here we cover the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals is also here. You can learn about it. The Paris Climate Agreement, government rules, the youth and children role in addressing the issue of climate change. Everything are up impact here in this toolkit. So these are some best
Sorry, Ezekiel.
practices. Yeah.
I was going to say, we have 2 minutes left from the presentation. Do you want
No
to maybe
problem.
carry on for the 2 minutes, or maybe just address 1 or 2 questions?
Oh, no problem. I can take questions.
Okay. So there's a question here. Let me start with the first one. How do you measure your impact? There's a question there.
How do you measure your impact?
How do you measure? Yes.
In,
Yes, here it is.
in,
Yes.
in line with climate literacy, or just general impact?
The impact that is connected to climate literacy.
Yes. Most often, how you measure your impact is what are some of the changes you see around you, people lifestyles. So when I started my advocacy, I was removed from so many chat rooms. I was even blocked on Facebook by some of my friends because they thought that I was not doing something meaningful. But when I started to educate them about climate change, they too want to become climate activists. They want to become climate ambassadors. They want to fight for the climate. So you will see that most often people around you, their attitudes will change. They want to join your movement. They want to join your NGO. They want to join your initiative. Before, they never wanted to join it, but now they are trying to join that. So you can see that you are making impact with the changes of their behaviors.
Oh, okay, Ezekiel. And unfortunately, we've run out of time. But just one more question. Some Alamin is asking how can people get the toolkit?
Oh yes, the toolkit is on fd.org website. The toolkit is also on our website, the Liberian Youth for Climate Actions. And after this section, this platform will also have the toolkit also placed here. So like you can see here, the website of fd.org is here, or you can also email us. You can email me, and I can also send you a copy of the toolkit. But after this youth summit, you have it on the Africa Youth Summit platform as well.
Okay, 100%. Thank you so much, Ezekiel, for your wonderful presentation on climate literacy. Thank you for you were a wonderful speaker, and thank you for your presence, and also for the people who participated in this session. Thank you so much. Thanks, Ezekiel. Thanks to the attendees as well.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.